Tonight, a special World in Action report on the two girls sentenced to 10 years each in jail for a bombing conspiracy. Although both girls pleaded not guilty to being members of the Angry Brigade, both sympathized with its revolutionary aims. In 1967, Anna Mendelssohn was accepted by Essex University to study literature and sociology. By 1968, she'd become a militant socialist and was prominent during the weeks of student unrest at Essex that year.
By being political, by wanting to change, I mean, this shitty world, if you like. You know, it's all fighting against the state.
I'd like to introduce Louise Landes Levi, a wonderful poet and great master musician who's going to accompany my talk. Yeah, it was in the late 1980s and early 90s I began to find pamphlets by poetry by a writer I didn't know. And I was fascinated by this poetry. It was difficult, abstract, abstruse, coded, and I didn't believe the name of the author. She was called Grace Lake, and I thought, Grace Kelly, meet Veronica Lake. Now there are people called Grace Lake in the world, but I don't believe in them either. And I just thought, no, who is this person? So I bought these books, little pamphlets, all published out of Cambridge. In 1986, an account of a mummy in the Royal Cabinet of Antiquities in Dresden. I mean, what's that? Tondo Atlantique, Parasol Avenue, La Facciata, Viola Tricola, and Bernage Nonette. Bernage Nonette, by the way, is a goose. It's a barnacle goose. And it's important because she chose that title, the author, because that's where the wild goose chase comes from. So you go in search for her identity. And I thought, actually, I just love the poetry. I love these books. I don't need to know who she is. And then I was researching the British Poetry Revival. A huge change in British poetry in the 1960s and 70s. And because I'd worked with Tim Clark, Professor T.J. Clark at Leeds University, where we had the most radical art department in the world in the 1970s. The Mekons, the Gang of Four, it was the punk era. It was unbelievable. I mean, Tim Clark introduced into the department, we were teaching Lacan, we were teaching post-structuralism, Derrida. It was a complete revolution and revelation. And a lot of the students suffered. I have to tell you, I held a lot of hands in those years. But because I was researching in this area, to do with British poetry, I went to Essex University, where Tim Clark had been in the 1960s. And that's when I discovered that Grace Lake was actually Anna Mendelssohn, who had been sentenced to 10 years in prison for conspiracy as part of the Angry Brigade, first the so-called homegrown British terrorist movement. She protested her innocence. She was found guilty. 2 members of the jury thought there was no charge to press. However, she got 10 years in Holloway prison, along with Myra Hindley and a lot of terrible, terrible criminals. She was criminalised, she was terrorised. Literally, the terrorist terrorised. She'd been at Essex University in the 1960s, and she studied literature. And she met people like Ed Dorr, who was her teacher, Ted Berrigan, Tom Rayworth, Robert Lowe, many people who went to Essex University who actually taught her about beat poetry, but at the very moment that it was turning into the British poetry revival. And that is, we've got the influence of Ausonian poetics, we've got the image poetry, the New York school, and the beginning of the language poets. So at the very point when she is sent to prison in the very late 70s, her education and her practice as a poet is completely obliterated. She describes it, I'll read this text to you now. Walking down Albany Street, just down the road from Euston Station, London, and I see that building. Yeah, that's where Anna Mendelssohn spent 3 days in isolation, 3 days and nights in isolation, in the police cells following her arrest. She was barefoot. She wrote later, I told them, there is nothing I can say to defend myself without ratting on other people, so I'll say nothing. She was then taken to Holloway prison, a dark, freezing dungeon. She described it England, late 20th century, political climate, the Depression, prisoners number 971226. And the flashbacks would last a lifetime. She wrote, they said to me, confess, 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 confess to whatever you can confess to. Go on, write. I can't write. You told me you could write. I could before I told you. I told you I can't say anymore. And then she noted he was armed with credentials and he was very dangerous. And now here's the Wellcome Institute, which I visited with Ira. It's just around the corner from that police cell. I took Ira down with some shrunken heads, and the Chinese torture chairs, and a curtain made of strings of human teeth. And then we went to Salisbury, with red velvet banquets and golden nymphs. And it was there, and this is the political point, because this is about beats of politics. This is the political point. Ira told me the most frightening story I ever heard in my life. It happened in Marrakesh, in the Jama of Nam. He got it from a very famous source. And I can never forget that story. And Ira said to me, Ian, be careful who you tell that story to. And whatever you do, don't write it down. So I wrote it down. Of course I did. And the day I heard from New York that Ira had died, I went out into my patio garden and I burnt those pages. And I'm never going to tell anybody what that story is. Okay? Now, Burroughs Dyson quoting the ridiculous words of Hassan Isaba. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. It's the other way around. Now, everything is true and nothing is permitted. So let me speak, and this is like my discourse, it's like, I've got pages and pages here about the Stauffenberg cycle, about Anna Mendelssohn, about MacFayden. But in a sense, it comes down to this. This is politics, okay? A few sentences. I saw blue and green and red threads crisscrossing the night sky over the Coromandel coast. It was the connectivity of all things, the cosmic net, perfect in all its parts. 30 years later, in a half-waking dream state, he saw the filaments burn and shred, and the entire beautiful, delicate structure disintegrate in slow motion, falling and disappearing into an oil-black sea. He woke up, his heart pounding, in fear and distress. Right there, right there, right there, on Duke Ellington Boulevard. I just want to say, if you want to look at Anna Mendelssohn online, then she, in 1967, Jean Godard went to Essex University to make a film, and he fell in love with her, and he wanted her to be the star of his movie. But being Anna, she put it up to a vote. And the other students went, no stars. So she missed out. However, if you go online and you look up Jean Godard, British Sounds, it's called, you'll see her at the end of the film, and you won't miss her because she's the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. And she's wearing a kind of Anita Pallenberg yellow poppy hat. And in Godard's film, the students at Essex, the so-called radical students, are doing their version of the Beatles' Revolution and Honey Pie, and you can see a key moment where she turns and just goes, you know what, we're totally lost. What are we doing? And this is kind of typical of a career, because what the point I'm trying to make is she studied the Beats, was inspired by them. In May '68, she went to Paris and was part of the Situationist events there, like Tim Clark, who I work with. Now, when she came back, she was absolutely radicalised, but to what degree she was responsible for the explosions and the attacks by the Angry Brigade, we'll never really know. She denied it. But the key point here, in terms of beat culture, because this is a beat conference, she wasn't allowed to write. She didn't have access to books throughout the 1970s when she was in Holloway. When she came out, she was still a poet, but she'd been denied access to all books in theory that would have made her life she was a visual artist as well as an artist and writer possible. No, she couldn't do that. When she came out, something important had happened. British poetry had been revolutionised. Again, because of Ausonian poetics, because of deep image poetry, because of the access to American literature, not just Black Mountain and New York School, but many other things, and discourses about what postmodernist poetry could be. But there's something else that I want to say. It's very important. She grew up in Stockport, and she went to the synagogue in Manchester. At the age of 14, she won a prize for Hebrew, but then her studies were terminated because she was a girl. And Hebrew was for men. It was the paternalistic language, it was the religious and the legal language of the male sex. And this upset her. Equally, she suffered anti-Semitism throughout her life. But let's look at the countercultural commune, the Angry Brigade she grew up with throughout the 60s. They forced her to contribute to a communique sent by the Angry Brigade, and this was the main group obliging the women to participate, to be complicit in the actions of the cadre. In other words, she contributed, but she was forced to do so, to actually write, because her boyfriend and other guys said, you have to do this. And then she ends up in a police station with cops telling her to confess. Now, it's not totally simplistic, but I'll put it like this. When she comes out and begins to write again, she rejects the language of the father, of religion, of the cops, of authority, telling her, confess. And this is exactly the moment that although beat poetry is becoming more complex linguistically, we're more aware of the process of translation, she is the last person who's going to confess to anything. So when she writes poetry, she has to be hidden. She can speak, but she cannot speak in the way that Denise Levertov and Diana Prima or other people speak. She cannot do that. And it coincides with the revolution in poetry. So the two things actually fit together. She becomes more and more interested. When I first read her poetry, I thought, these pamphlets come from Cambridge, so she's connected to J.H. Prynne. So she has that kind of political but linguistic connection to Prynne and the Cambridge School of Poets. Kitchen Poems by J.H. Prynne, for example. Something is trying to come through her work, but you get glimpses of it. It's as if it's actually cut out. And I'll give you an idea. She wrote, "Neither of these two sentences are true. They are pieces of poetry. I do know that I have used unpremeditated forms in which I have written certain truths about my life which I cannot write about in any other way. I want to write something which I cannot, in any shape, form or content, anticipate, because for me there are philosophical and ethical dilemmas." There is no one looking now, no one checking my brain, no one trusting my thoughts, the danger of the public voice, no one demanding a performance from me, no one threatening me every time I open my mouth. So the urge to utter, which was driven underground to mock itself for its former sense of duty, is built on not what it wanted to be speaking about, but what it had to be. There's enough to read now. I don't have to write anymore. What happened is she then wrote an extraordinary piece called One Performance, which is a film script, a play, a musical, a comedy, a romance, a clef. What a performance was the very thing that went through her head when she was arrested on Amherst Road and loved by the police. She thought, what a performance. She had no idea she was going to go to prison for 10 years. I just want to say that I haven't even had time to get to Ireland and done, but I hope this has been of interest to you, because what I want to communicate is the problematics at that point in the 1980s of a woman who had been dominated by men and male discourse, attempting to create herself through a poetic practice which I believe is profoundly political. She did not speak. For example, just before I will finish, Louis Turco, in his book Visions and Revisions of American Poetry, he attacks of poetry and power and poets for peace from the fast, and Denny's Levitov's out of the war shadow of the 1960s. And he says, most of Levitov's anti-war poems are embarrassing. They aren't art, they are a harangue, sentimental self-righteousness. The effect of such pieces draws attention to the poet as ego-poetic sufferer, the man's inhumanity to man. She wasn't asking her readers to pity the war-ravaged Vietnamese, but to pity herself and for her hurt on their behalf. The good poems in the volume are those which do not address the war or politics in this evangelical pseudo-dramatic way. In one poem, Levertov even has flakes of napalm delivering a sermon in monologue as they fall on dying Vietnamese villagers. But the point I want to make is, for Mendelssohn, she could not write like that. because her language had been taken away from her. She'd studied the beats, she knew the New York school, she was a friend of Ed Dawn and Tom Raworth. When she came out of prison and began to rebuild her life, where was her voice going to come from? And just to show you how appalling life can be, she became a single mother with 3 children. And she became seriously ill, was hospitalised, and then the social services moved in and her children were fostered. And she ended up in the High Court, where she'd been in the beginning, with her children removed from her. And so, all the way through her life, she read Kerouac in her early teens, she read Burroughs, she read Ginsberg, she knew she was going to be a poet. What happened to her? What happened to her? You know? And I just ended with this. One of my favourite books is The Demon Lover, The Sexuality of Terrorism by Robin Walker. She looks back on her own history and she quotes from her poem, Monster, 1972. And I will speak more and more in crazy gibberish you cannot understand, witches' incantations, poetry, old women's mutterings, schizophrenic code, accents, healing, firearms, poison, knives, bullets, and whatever else will invent freedom. And then looking back on this, and it's chilling. She says, my husband and I were criticised for refusing to throw away our books and typewriters. We were warned by fellow members of the cadre to be wary of our bourgeois tendencies. One of our affinity group growls that the only revolutionary use for a typewriter is to drop it out of a window onto a fucking hot skull. Who does that mean anyway? And then she lies and I didn't listen to us one from. This is the circuit dial. This is the battery. This is the timer. Do you understand? I understand. I want to understand. I don't want to understand. Do you know how to solder? Do you know how to use a soldering gun? I know. My hands are trembling. I force them to stop by an act of will. I hear myself talking all the time, in speeches at meetings and communiques. I talk to myself, if my skill is communication, what are these fucking wires doing in my hands? What are these strange sticks taped together like paper wrap, beeswax candles that are dark and finally flaring? They're a form of communication, I mean to myself, and then I go, this is the end of communication. These sticks can open the throat not to words or song. These sticks open the throat in strings of muscles, splashes of blood, in charred patches of flesh. I try to talk to other people about this, but they do not understand my language. I must be wrong. I must be mad. Okay. Thanks, Louise.
How would you describe your politics?
Revolutionary.